Well, good morning and welcome everyone. We have a very full agenda for our session today. I want to do a couple of quick reminders. Our general format is careers in state government. My name is Julie Love, and I also have Johnny Rodriguez. We are the recruiting team for the Illinois Department of Revenue. We do these calls monthly. We try to do a special focus, so if there are ideas that you want more information on how to get a job with the state or resume building, interviewing, if you have a particular area you're interested in, please drop that in the chat and we can try and work on a session. Again, we do the calls monthly, so if you check our website or follow us on social, you'll find out when the sessions are being held, the date and time. This morning, we're going to jump right into careers in state government. I have to do a quick disclosure or statement that Johnny nor I are attorneys. We're not giving any type of legal advice in any way. We are just here to help you with the recruiting process in the state of Illinois. So no tax advice we're giving you, and we're not giving anyone an unfair advantage here. So with that in mind, we'll jump right in. Next slide, should talk a little bit about the Illinois Department of Revenue. Basically, our mission is very simple. We're here to administer Illinois tax laws and collect tax revenue. So yesterday was a big day for us in the state of Illinois. It was tax day. When you pay your income tax or you file your taxes with the state of Illinois, they come to our place of business down in Springfield and we process those for you. You either get a refund or you may owe some money. Either way, we take care of that. And then once we collect all of those revenues, we turn around and disperse those back out to the state. So we are a central part of the state of Illinois as a state agency. We do all of this in a very accurate, timely, and reliable manner so that you feel confident your taxes are being processed in a very competent manner. So next slide, please. State of Illinois, this is our location down in Springfield at 101 West Jefferson, and we've been here for 25 plus years. We've been in business since the 1920s when the legislators drafted language that said we had to collect tax, and at that time it was just one tax, and now we're over 80 taxes that we collect. So next slide, please. What I like to always emphasize is that the state of Illinois has a variety of residents. Just like our constituents in Illinois are of diverse backgrounds, we like to hire people that represent our taxpayers. So we are very cognizant that we have a variety of citizens living in this state, and we would like to represent our employees so that it mirrors what our taxpayers look like. So our goal is to successfully recruit and hire an inclusive, highly qualified, and diverse workforce. Next slide, please. So quickly, we have 6 different locations across the state. You'll see them here. The biggest of these locations is Springfield, Illinois. That's where the bulk of our employees are and the jobs are. However, we do have offices and employees in the other locations listed on the state. So make sure when you look at those job postings that you identify where the job is located. Next slide, please. And just a little bit about working for revenue. One of the things we really focus on is that 37.5-hour work week. So a lot of times people will ask about working or tell us they're working in the Big 4 accounting firms, and that's wonderful if that's the choice or the route you would like to take. We like to have work-life balance, and that is one of the things that we are very proud of here at the Department of Revenue, so that you get your evenings and your weekends free to do things that you want to do, whether it's spend time with your family, travel, have hobbies, go to school. That's always open for you to take care of. We typically work a Monday through Friday schedule. We have 25 paid days off available each year. We have 13, actually I think it's 14, depending on if it's an election year or not. We now have Juneteenth off in June. You are eligible to roll over your vacation and sick from year to year, and we have flexible work schedules. So that's probably the second big question that we get asked is, are your positions remote? And the answer is sometimes yes. Most of our trainee titles have to be in the building because our trainee consists of a classroom and on the job. And so you have to be here during that trainee period. And it just depends on which program you're in and which area you're in is whether or not you can continue to work from home or if you have to be in the building. And one of the things we are really proud of at the state of Illinois is we offer 10 weeks of paid leave for parental leave, and that is a great benefit. So next slide, please. Benefits, if you don't know, state of Illinois offers a very comprehensive benefit plan. It includes health, vision, dental. There is absolutely no waiting period for that, so your very first day you're eligible. And then we also offer a lot of extra benefits that you can participate in. You can purchase extra life insurance. You can participate in the HSA or the dependent care DCAP program, flexible spending program. We do have commuter savings program for our employees that work in the Chicagoland area. And then we also have a wellness program called Be Well for all state of Illinois employees. And as far as financial wellness, we do have public service loan forgiveness for state of Illinois employees. We at Revenue, one of the biggest advantages is our tuition reimbursement, which is going up to $5,000 per year. So I always encourage folks to look at tuition reimbursement if you're looking at going back to school and pursuing a degree of any sort. We offer a wonderful retirement package and deferred comp, so 2 different vehicles to take care of you when you're done working. And then if you have young kids, you can look into a College 529 plan for them. I do realize I'm going fast. I'm trying to get through the basics so that we can turn the attention over to our guest this morning. So professional development, again, this is one of the greatest things I think that Revenue does, which promote from within. We have many of our senior leaders started out in a training title and have worked their way up into a senior leadership position. So it's one of the things that we are very proud of. We fully believe in promote from within. So that is career advancement, career development is something that you could look forward to here. We have a very robust learning and development division. They offer a variety of classes that you can take, either CBL, computer-based learning, or in classroom now. We are again, after a little bit of a pause for COVID. CMS offers something called CMS University, where you can take learning programs through them. There's a program called Upward Mobility, where you can sign up for that program and take classes and work towards an advanced title. Free college program may be on pause, so we'll pause that one for right now. The biggest other one, which right now we have a variety of positions that are bilingual, and if you are Spanish speaking, I would encourage you to go out, or you have friends or family that are bilingual in Spanish. We have a couple different positions posted right now that are Spanish-speaking positions, so you would be compensated for that. Again, with the state of Illinois, there are all different kinds of voluntary extra benefits that we would encourage you to look into, everything from legalese to pet insurance, weight loss benefit program, so a nice variety of extra benefits in the package for state employees. And one of the other benefits that is offered through the state of Illinois is the career counseling. So if you are interested in the state and you just don't know what types of titles that you would be eligible for, we encourage you to reach out to the counseling division at CMS, and you can email them at this email address and send them your resume, and they can help work with you to identify which titles. And it doesn't have to be just revenue job titles. It can be any title with the state of Illinois, but it's a free service. And I would encourage you to reach out to them if you need some guidance on which way to go, which path to take. Another program that we have through CMS is the Disabled Worker Trainee Program, where we hire individuals with disabilities for certain titles, and then our Illinois Veteran Outreach Program, where you can get extra points for being a veteran. And I am going to turn things over to Johnny, and he is going to walk you through where to find us on our webpage and a little bit about the actual hiring process.
Hello, good morning, everybody. So those who are interested in applying for Illinois Department of Revenue positions, you'll have to visit the tax.illinois.gov website. There's a link that says About IDOR. There it will have another link that'll say Employment Opportunities. As you click the Employment Opportunities tab, that will open directly to all our current job openings. So send you directly to the work.illinois.gov website. There you will be able to apply for positions directly through that website. Remember to sign up to receive job alerts. This is by signing up through the work.illinois.gov website. So anybody trying to apply for state positions will have to apply through work.illinois.gov. So you have to set up a profile where you need to upload your resume, your college transcripts, any certifications, if you have a CPA, you are able to update that if you do. Um, Anything that you have that's pertinent to your qualifications you want to upload to the system. So previously we used to apply through a CMS 100 application that is no longer available. This time everybody has to apply online. The way you submit your resume is through the website. So you upload your resume on the system. Uh, Once we have received all candidates and they have been given a point grade, they will be contacted for an interview. This could take anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks, depending on the number of applications we have. So usually we're waiting for Central Management Services to send us over those applications. They're the ones that give the grade point average. So make sure that you're going to wait a little bit. So don't be hesitant when you look at that. Additionally to that, you have to make sure you have to meet the minimum qualifications for the position. If you don't meet the minimum qualifications for the position, you will receive an email within 48 hours to let you know that you did not meet the minimum qualification. Uh, some opportunities are available um, to have remote positions. So some of those positions, depending on which agency you work and depending on the need of the agency. So I know somebody was asking about remote job opportunities. It's just depending on your position. As far as the transcripts that you need to upload on the system is unofficial transcripts. We don't need your official transcripts. Make sure that all candidates answer the application questions. A lot of times people will disqualify themselves for not answering those questions and just saying review my resume. You want to make sure you match your answers on your application with what you have on your resume. Any resume that you're uploading, make sure it's a public service resume, so you need to have a lot of information. Usually people have a 1, 2 page resume when they use it in the public sector, or in the private sector, I would say. You would like to use more of a public sector resume. You have a lot more space, a lot more opportunity to upload more information. We don't have a limit of pages that you are able to upload, so you can have a 4 or 5 pager. So make sure you have a public service resume, have all the information, all your um, experience. Make sure you have a specific experience in management, specific experience in accounting. Try to emphasize on those when you submit your resume. Additional to that, as I said, within the first 48 hours, if you don't meet the minimum qualification, you will receive an email with Central Management Services letting you know that you do not meet the minimum qualifications to move forward. If you did not receive an email within the first 48 hours, that means that you're still being reviewed for that position. So don't get discouraged. Like I said, it could take anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks for to receive a opportunity to do an interview. Some people receive that at the 6 mark week. Some people receive it at the 4 week mark. So uh, make sure that if you don't have the 48-hour email saying that you're disqualified, you're still qualified for that position. So uh, just encouraged to keep on looking on the website for opportunities with the state. So Illinois Department of Revenue have program areas such as taxpayer services, account processing, collection, audit, legal services, and criminal investigations. Within these programs, we have audit. Within audit, we have audit planning, technical support, discovery, and audit review. We have our legal service. This represents IDOR with both civil and criminal litigation. We do income tax, sales tax, and property tax. Today we will be covering a little bit overview on how we encourage people to start with Illinois Department of Revenue as an entry-level position if they're not able to start at some of the other positions, where some positions they can start off as, let's say, an office assistant, a very entry level with a high school diploma. You can start as a revenue office assistant, get into the upper mobility program, go receive your bachelor's degree, and then get into the revenue tax specialist trainee title. Once you become a revenue tax specialist trainee, you're able to be in that position anywhere from 2 to 3 years, become a revenue tax specialist trainee one and revenue tax specialist trainee two. With that experience, you're able to get into the revenue auditor trainee path. So you could go from entry level position to six figures, anywhere between 8 to 10 years, depending on how much school you have and how you're able to move within the agency. Some of these promotions are automatically, whether your revenue tax specialist trainee has an automatic promotion to revenue tax specialist one. You do have to meet the minimum criteria through your reviews, and then you automatically go to revenue tax specialist two. From there, you're able to once again apply for that revenue auditor trainee position, which has an automatic promotion at the end of those 12 months training as a revenue auditor one. So, additional to all these positions, we have other positions that are entry level, such as their data processing, uh, data analyst, and we have our administrative assistant, administrative office associate, and there's one more, correct, Miss Julie? Is entry level?
Uh, Sorry, I was reading the chat. I missed the question, Johnny? Sorry.
Uh, the entry level positions are administrative assistant, office associate, our data
Yeah, I think you covered
processing
them.
technician, data processing.
Yeah, the key is that any of those entry-level positions that you could obtain at Revenue and get in and work and get the experience and then work your way up through the progression in those titles. So, and we had a question in the chat about having a master's degree, and would that help you advance? It will not in the trainee titles. You do have to go through the trainee process and the whole duration in the trainee title, because that's where you learn the critical components of the job. And our guest today, Roger Cross, will explain a little bit more about that. So give us just a moment, but I do also want to say, if you can't stay on the call the whole time or miss something, the call is being recorded and it is on our webpage. So we'll circle back around to that at the end as well. So sorry, Johnny, carry on.
Okay, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the interview process. All interviews are virtual through our WebEx system. We will have a three-panel member on the interview process. Make sure that all questions are going to be asked the same for all participants. So we are only able to repeat the questions, and we're going to have them on the chat box whenever you do the interview. Assume that nothing is known from your background. Although you do upload your resume and you answer your application questions on the system, the interview does not have that information. So when you are answering those questions, you want to be very elaborate as far as all the information you have from your background and your experiences. So because we don't have your resume on file and we don't have that application on file as an interviewee, we're only going to be able to answer those from what you tell us. So if we ask you questions particularly about your experience, make sure you tell us your whole experience from number of years, type of experience, and give us just a big overview of what we're looking for. Sometimes in some of these questions, you will have 5 questions in one question, meaning that if you only answer 2 of those 5 questions, you're only going to have partial credit for that question. So make sure you answer all those questions from that question that you were asked on the interview. Traditionally, some of these questions, they're just leading into one another. So if you're able to utilize the chat box to annotate your questions as far as like making sure you answer all those part of the questions, you'll be having a higher probability of scoring higher. Listen to the question, highlight your skills and knowledge, be very specific in your answer. And like I said, you're not able to take notes when you're on the video conference, but you're able to use the chat box to write anything you need to. So moving forward. So why revenue? We have a strong diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility committee. We have 2 beautiful offices, one in Springfield and Chicago. We do have an on-site daycare center out of the Springfield office. We do have public education seminars for taxpayers. We have a strong rec clubs, both in Springfield and Chicago, and we utilize our own internet spider system to interact with all other state employees within Illinois Department of Revenue. Uh, we are going to be talking about the revenue auditor trainee. So revenue auditor trainee, their taxpayer books, records, ensure tax obligations are met. Our salary range for that position is anywhere between 46,272 as the starting pay to 64,848. It does require a bachelor's, and it is a union title semi-automatic promotion. So I'll have Mr. Koss talk about the opportunities.
Yep. Roger, we're going to turn things over to you to go over a little bit more detail about the revenue auditor trainee and the audit area.
All right. Well, I just want to let you know that I thank you, Julie, for giving me this opportunity to speak with interested candidates for the revenue auditor trainee position. I'd also like to welcome everybody that is in attending this recruiting WebEx. And so I will try to provide you as much information as possible concerning the revenue auditor trainee position. First of all, my name is Roger Koss. I have been with the Illinois Department of Revenue for almost 40 years. I started as a revenue auditor trainee back in 1983. I progressed up through the auditor series to become a supervisor, and then was promoted from a supervisor position to a division manager position. And my current title is the program administrator for the audit area. I do have a bachelor's degree. I have a CPA exam. I graduated from Illinois State University. And so that's a little bit about myself. I do have some breaking news. The Illinois Department of Revenue audit area is going to be posting revenue auditor trainee positions beginning tomorrow. To qualify for a revenue auditor trainee position, you must have a bachelor's degree in either accounting, finance, or business administration with 21 hours of accounting. We have positions located in the Springfield area in-house, the Springfield field area, the Des Plaines area, and in those people would be in the Des Plaines area would be field compliance personnel, and I'll give you a little more of a description concerning what a field compliance employee does. We also have positions in Fairview Heights, Marion, and other locations throughout the state of Illinois. Basically, we are broken into three divisions. We have the income tax division, we have the sales income tax field compliance division, the sales tax field compliance division, and the audit discovery and recovery division, which is really a support or in-house division. For example, if you are applying for a revenue auditor trainee position in the audit discovery and recovery division, those positions are located at the Willard Ice Building in Springfield, Illinois, and they would be available in areas such as audit planning, which basically you do research to determine the taxpayers that we are going to audit, and you would establish the audit assignment. If you would like a position in technical support, those positions basically research the tax laws, do legislative reviews, answer questions from both our employees as well as from taxpayers. We also have a discovery section. Basically, the discovery section conduct desk audits. Those positions are located again in the Willard Ice Building. And any of these positions at the current time, after you reach a certain amount of time in your training time, are currently remote, either fully remote or hybrid remote. And hybrid remote, you may have to come to the office 1 or 2 days a week. And the other times you are able to work at your residence. The field compliance positions, Basically, in those positions, you conduct audits on taxpayers located in Illinois or located outside of Illinois. Currently, the large portion of your time is spent remotely, working at your residence once you uh, reach a certain point in your trainee title. Those audits are conducted using electronic means. You'll receive their books and records electronically from the taxpayers. You would conduct your audit. You would communicate both electronically as well as verbally with the taxpayers, unless you are conducting audits at the taxpayers' locations. We still do conduct audits at taxpayers' locations, depending on if the taxpayer is able to provide books and records electronically, or depending on the request of the taxpayer, if they would like their audit to be worked on at their location. You are reimbursed for your travel expenses when you go to a taxpayer's location. Um, basically, when you are a trainee, there is a 6 to 8 week classroom instruction, and the entire trainee period is for 12 months. At the end of those 12 months, you are either promoted to a revenue auditor one, or your trainee's rights are terminated and you are no longer employed. In the past, we've had about a 75% retention of trainees that started. Currently, we have roughly 250 field compliance auditors located throughout Illinois and also located out of state, but currently we are not hiring for our out of state locations. We have approximately 100 revenue auditors in our audit discovery and recovery division. And in total, we have approximately 400 auditors, supervisors, and support personnel in audit. As I stated previously, at the current requirements are a bachelor's of science degree, a bachelor's degree in accounting, finance, or business administration with 21 hours of accounting. We are currently revising the requirements. However, those requirements have not been approved yet through the central management services. Basically, if you are a field compliance division revenue auditor trainee, you will have, like I said, you will be assigned audits. You will conduct those audits with the taxpayers. You will provide the taxpayers with the results of the audit. You will write the audit up and provide and transmit it to your supervisor upon completion. Our goal is to have our revenue auditor trainees and revenue auditors complete anywhere from 6 to 25 audits per year. And the interesting thing of being an auditor is one day you may be working on a manufacturing company. The next, couple weeks later, you might be working on a service industry. Couple weeks after that, you may be working on a retailer. It is amazing the amount of information that you gain from your employment by conducting audits on these various different types of taxpayers. If you work for the audit recovery and discovery division, um, in many instances, you are in a support role, like when you work for the technical support section, the audit planning section, the audit review section, computer support. And also you could work in the discovery section where you would conduct audits, but basically you would be conducting these audits either remotely or at your desk in the Willard Ice Building. And these types of audits are a little less complex than the audits that are conducted by the field compliance division personnel. Um, at this point, I would open it up for any questions or turn it back over to you, Julie. That is a brief overview of the revenue auditor trainee position. After 1 year, you're either promoted to a revenue auditor one. Currently, If you are successful in a Revenue Auditor 1 position, after 2 years, you are promoted to a Revenue Auditor 2 position. If you are successful in completing those 2 years as a Revenue Auditor 2, you become a Revenue Auditor 3. The Revenue Auditor 1 conducts small to medium-sized audits, both either for income tax or sales tax. We do specialize. So you're either an income tax auditor or a sales tax auditor. As you move into a level 2, a Revenue Auditor 2 position, you conduct audits on medium-sized businesses. When you become a Revenue Auditor 3, you will conduct audit on large multinational corporations, and you will come across far more complex issues as a Revenue Auditor 3 than you will as a Revenue Auditor Trainee 1 or a 2. I'll turn it back over to you now, Julie, for any questions. Hopefully I covered everything that you wanted from the Revenue Auditor Trainee position. And I'll open it up for any questions from the people attending the chat.
So to
Thank you, Roger.
To clarify, for those positions, they need to have a degree in accounting, finance, or business administration with 21 credit hours in accounting. So those that have other degrees like mathematics or finance or trying to transfer to a revenue auditor position, they will have to be a revenue tax specialist first in order to get into the revenue auditor trainee position, or how will they be able to transition into a revenue auditor position?
If they have, again, we are in the process of updating the requirements that have not been approved. We will be adding additional areas of study such as mathematics, some computer science degrees, public administration degrees. So it will not be effective for this hiring, but hopefully for the next hiring, there will be an expanded list of bachelor's degrees in areas where you can apply for a revenue auditor training position. If you have a bachelor's degree in these other areas, you can start as a revenue tax specialist. And then if you have, you do have an opportunity to go into the revenue auditor trainee series after serving as a revenue tax specialist for 5 years. And if you do serve as a revenue tax specialist for 5 years, the requirements also drop to 15 hours of accounting instead of 21. So there is an option to get to the revenue auditor trainee series also through the revenue audit or the revenue tax specialist series.
And we do have RTS Revenue Tax Specialist trainee titles posted right now, so you would be eligible to apply for those jobs right now. Those jobs do not have interviews, and no tax experience is needed for those Revenue Tax Specialist titles. So as Roger said, you could apply for those with a degree outside of finance, business administration, or accounting. And then you would spend some time working in those positions, and then you could apply for the revenue auditor title. The key takeaway from today's call, I want to emphasize over and over again, is that every single job has different requirements. So the key thing you have to do in applying for the state of Illinois is look at the minimum qualifications on the job posting. Every job posting for the state, no matter if it's revenue, CMS, DCFS, DOC, any state agency, all of the job postings are going to have different requirements, minimum requirements. As long as you meet those minimum requirements for that job, I would encourage you to apply. There'll be preferred qualifications that they'll ask for, and you may or may not have those. But as long as you meet the minimum, you can apply for the job. If you don't meet it, you'll get kicked out of the system within a couple of days and get a rejection note. So let's see if there are other questions. Oh, Roger, yes.
Yeah, I noticed there's a couple questions in the chat. One of them asked if the training was online or in person. The actual 6 to 8 weeks of training for a revenue auditor trainee position is in person, and usually that training does occur in in Springfield, and with a rarity of it occurring in the Des Plaines area. If you take a position, you receive the training after you accept the position. If you have to travel to Springfield, for example, from the Chicagoland area or from Fairview Heights or Marion, your hotel expenses are direct billed and they are paid for directly by the state of Illinois. You also receive a per diem um, based upon the days that you are staying overnight, as well as you would either receive mileage to Springfield, or if you take the Amtrak from Chicago, your Amtrak bill would also be paid. So your travel expenses to get to Springfield um, are covered. If you are a audit discovery and recovery employee headquartered in the Willard Ice Building, then your travel expenses to training are not covered because you are headquartered at the Willard Ice Building where the training occurs. So I just wanted to make sure that there was clear understanding of that.
So if they have a bachelor's in business administration but don't have 20 hours of accounting, does that disqualify them?
At the current time, that does disqualify them. They have to have at least 21 hours of accounting. As I've stated multiple times, we are revising our job requirements, and when those changes occur, it will be posted in the positions.
So if they have a master's in accounting and financial management, within that they'll have to have the 21 credit hours in accounting.
At the current time, yes, they have to have at least 21 hours of accounting.
Okay.
Joel asked the question if there's any consideration given for people without a bachelor's degree, and I think it depends on which position you're applying for. For the revenue auditor trainee, no, that you would have to have a bachelor's degree in one of those areas today. But again, as Roger mentioned, we are opening that up and it will be changing. We have all kinds of other positions out there that do not require a bachelor's degree. So the best thing for everyone to do is to look at the job board, see what positions out there that you might be interested in, but sign up for the job alert, because that way, if there's a particular title that you're looking for that's not posted right now, keep in mind you have to apply for the position when it's active and out there with a live link. Once the job comes down, you can apply. But if you don't want to miss a job that you're interested in, then sign up for job alerts. It's on our webpage. It doesn't cost anything. We will not send you tax information. We just let you know when jobs post. And then that way you won't miss it. You don't have to go out to the webpage every day and keep checking it.
They're also asking if a position is listed in Springfield, but let's say they live closer to another city such as Rockford, could they be placed there instead, or they have to stay in the Springfield location?
Basically, the positions would be filled where they are located. You know, if the jobs are posted in Springfield, you need to reside near Springfield. I don't think there are any current postings for the Rockford area for a revenue auditor trainee in this hiring process. We have approximately 60 positions that will be posted as for the revenue auditor trainee position, and you can look at the different locations, but I do not think that there are any for the Rockford area in this hiring.
If they reside outside of the state of Illinois, let's say in Missouri, would lodging be available for them if they apply to, let's say, the Fairview Heights location?
They would have to live within 30 miles of the Fairview Heights location, and the lodging would be provided for their training, but not for permanent when they are working on audits or going to the Fairview Heights office. But they do have to live within 30 miles of the Fairview Heights office.
And what's the difference between quarter and semester hours, as far as it's 21 semester hours or 21 quarters? What are you
It's
guys?
21 semester hours.
And if they were in quarters, how many would that be?
Oh boy.
I think it's 24, but don't hold me to that.
Okay.
CMS would verify that, correct?
Yes, CMS would verify that.
Yes,
So,
you would come to Springfield for the training. The initial training, most of it is always either in Springfield or the hiring location. You can apply for jobs on each job posting. There is a location. So if the job is in Rockford, you can apply for that job to work in Rockford. But you have to attend the training in person. Okay, that's Johnny.
So I know some people are asking about our website. I'm just gonna kind of do a little overview. When you go to the taxofillinois.gov website and you choose our State of Illinois Employment Opportunities with Illinois Department of Revenue, this is what you will see. Here you have to click the job posting, and that will take you directly to our current job postings. Remember, our job posting are on the system anywhere between 10 to 13 business days. At the end of those 10 to 13 business days, if you do not apply during that time frame, the posting will be closed. Currently, for the revenue auditor trainee position, it is not posted on the system. They will be approving and posting this position tomorrow, so you should be there by Friday. If it's not there on Friday, it should be there on Monday, but currently it's not posted on the system. So we click job posting, is going to take you to all current job openings as of today. And remember, these postings are posted on the system for a time frame of 10 to 13 business days, depending on holidays or weekends. So currently, the position we do have on the posting for us is the Revenue Tax Specialist Trainee, which is not the Revenue Tax Auditor Trainee. So those are two different positions. The Revenue Tax Specialist Trainee position, any bachelor's degree. Revenue Tax Auditor Trainee, that's the one you need a business, accounting, finance with 21 credit hours in accounting. So those who are interested in a position with Illinois Department of Revenue that does not meet those requirements, the business, finance, and the 21 credit hour in accounting, you are able to apply for the Revenue Tax Specialist Trainee position that is currently posted on the system.
There's a question on here, can you skip the revenue auditor training position if you have a CPA and multiple years of experience? The answer is no. You have to go through the trainee process because that's how you get the skills to go into the auditor position. Now, we do have other positions that the years of experience and the CPA would be very helpful. That's why you need to go out to the webpage and look at the types of jobs we have open. You would be eligible probably for something else, another open position at Revenue, or you could start in the trainee title and get that knowledge and, you know, kind of how we do it here. You got to learn that first before you can advance up through that series. But there are other positions that you could apply for. There also is no age requirement. So it doesn't matter if you're usually 18, most people apply, but it doesn't matter if you're 18 to 80. You can apply. There is no age requirement or restriction for us.
The Upward Mobility, it's a program that it's available to those that are already state employees. So you have to be a state employee in order to be able to apply for that program. So once you start with state employment, you have to have worked with the state for at least 6 months and be a certified state employee and then apply for the Upward Mobility. Coming from the outside, you're not able to get into that program. It's only for those that are currently already state employees. So if you come in as an entry-level position, you are able to sign up for the Upward Mobility program, depending on which positions we have posted for the Upward Mobility program. They have 22 targeted titles, and our Revenue Tax Specialist Trainee position is one of those targeted titles. There is no test for the Revenue Auditor Trainee. In order to meet the minimum qualifications, you do have to have those education skills on your resume and have the transcript so they could give you a score for it. So there is no test at this time. Now,
And
during
again,
the training, do they take testing?
During the training, there are quizzes, there's testing, there's lecture, there are you work on practice audits. It's a multitude of things that take place during the in-classroom training. And then when you go on the job training, you will have a coach / mentor.
So for those who don't have the 21 hours of accounting, let's say you start as a revenue training specialist, revenue training specialist, it's 5 years as a revenue training specialist 1, or revenue specialist 2? Is it 5
It
years?
would it would be 1 year as a revenue tax specialist, 3 years as a revenue tax specialist 1, and 1 year as a revenue tax specialist 2. And the number of hours are then reduced from 21 hours down to 15 hours, with one of those classes either being a tax class or an auditing class.
Question from Dawn. Her degree was from 20 years ago. Does that matter? No, it does not. As long as it is in finance, business admin, or accounting, you could apply for the revenue auditor trainee title.
So I'm going to review for those that, when I said that the postings are going to close at the closing date, make sure you look at this closing date. You need to apply, especially for the revenue tax specialist position, trainee position, by April 21st. So when the revenue auditor trainee position, they will also have a closing date. So make sure you apply prior to the closing date. If you don't apply prior to the closing date, you will not be able to apply for that position.
Julie, there's a question in the chat. If the transcript was from a school outside of the country, do we honor that transcript?
And that would be up to CMS. There are, I would attach it when you apply, and they can help you do the calculation to make sure you meet the minimum requirements, but that would be looked at in that review process. Question on if I have a communication degree in 12 hours accounting, should I apply for it? Well, no, because you have to have 20 hours of accounting today.
21.
21, excuse me. If you want, and the communication degree would not qualify for the revenue auditor trainee. For the revenue tax specialist, please keep in mind that it's two different titles. One is RTS, one is RAT. For the RTS title, you would qualify with a bachelor's degree in communication and the accounting hours that you have. You could join as an RTS, spend some time in that job, and then apply for the RAT title. Are you advising us to apply for the titles that say upward mobility? You can. It is a program for state of Illinois employees. The most paths, what people do is apply for an entry-level job. They get in and get some experience, and then they apply for upward mobility. They start taking the classes that they need and work for what we call that target title. If you apply for a Springfield position but live in Chicago, we would welcome you and get the job. How long do you need to officially move to Springfield? There is a time frame on that. I don't remember what it is. Do you know, Roger, off the top of your head?
At one time, it was 6 months, but I don't know if that has been changed or not.
It was 6 months. That's the same thing I thought. I don't believe that's changed, but you would have 6 months to move to Springfield. And again, we do these calls monthly, so if you have an idea for a topic that you would like to see us cover in a monthly call, please put that in the chat box. If you have additional questions after today, you can reach out to the Revenue Career, IDOR Career email address. It is on all of the information on the webpage. The call today is being recorded, so it's about 48 hours. I would say to be safe, by Monday, early next week, it'll be posted on our webpage. You can go out there and review the call again. There really is no preference on the resume. It's really however you feel comfortable. What I strongly encourage candidates to do is create their resume in a Word doc and use it as a master. And as Johnny referenced earlier on the call, you really want to be as detailed as possible on that resume. So then what you do is once you create that master doc in Word, then you just simply cut and paste when you apply for different jobs at the state. It will save you a lot of time having to retype the same information over and over again. So for example, one of the questions asked about a college degree. Do you meet this requirement of having a 4-year degree? And if so, if yes, how? So you're going to have to type, yes, I have a 4-year degree in accounting from University of Illinois, Champaign. And you're going to have to retype that every time. If it is in your master Word doc, then you can just simply cut and paste that answer. You will get asked questions when you apply on, do you have 4 years of progressive, responsible administrative duties? If yes, how? Again, you're going to have to retype that same response over and over for each job that you applied for that has that question. So if you have that information, a nice little summary in a Word doc, I worked at this job from this date, here are the job functions that I did, I worked at this job from these dates, here are these job functions, you can just simply copy and paste that into the answer.
Somebody asked about the RTS position being upper mobility. It is an upper mobility position. That does not mean that you're not able to apply for it. It just means that somebody who's within the state is able to apply with it through the upper mobility program if they currently do not have a bachelor's degree. But if you're coming from the outside, you're able to apply for that position as long as you have a bachelor's degree.
And there's also a question in there, Julie, I will address it. How do they determine which division you will work in? That is your choice. You apply for the sales tax division or the income tax division or the recovery division, or you can apply for all the positions, and then you can decide then which position you would like. But you have to apply for the specific position. So if there's a revenue auditor trainee position in Des Plaines that you're interested in, but you're also interested in the revenue auditor trainee position in the Willard Ice Building for the audit review section, you also have to apply for that position. You don't just apply for one, you have to apply for each position that you're interested in.
Yes. Thank you, Roger. Question was on a score. A candidate received, applicant received a score of a 90 for a position that she applied for. Does this mean I'll have the opportunity to interview? It depends. It depends on how many other people applied. So sometimes when there are, we usually try to get between 10 and 15 candidates, knowing that some of them will decline the offer to invite for interviews. So, and if we only have 15 candidates, then we would invite them all to come in and interview. If there are 300 candidates that have applied for a title and we only have 30 openings, obviously we would do a random draw and do a random draw on that title, and then we would take the top 15 people. And then we, if we don't get enough, if 5 people say they're not interested, then we go back and get another 5 candidates. So it kind of depends. That goes into part of the links for applying for state jobs. The best thing to do is keep applying, because at some point you will get selected to come in for an interview.
So currently with the revenue tax specialist trainee position, well, somebody's asking revenue tax specialist 1. In order to be considered for the revenue tax specialist 1 position, you have to be a revenue tax specialist trainee first. So you're not able to come from the outside into the revenue tax specialist 1 position. You have to complete the revenue tax specialist trainee in order to move up to the revenue tax specialist 1.
Yep, and Amy, I know sometimes you can apply for 50 positions and you feel like you're never going to hear back from anyone. It does take a little bit of time. We're doing much better. We got rid of the paper CMS 100 application and everything is online, but there's multiple steps in the process for getting on with the state. You just have to be patient and apply for any and all jobs that you meet the minimum qualifications on.
And for all of those who participated in our event today, I will be following up with you later today. I'm going to send you an email with our contact information, our website, also with a link to our previous videos. One of those videos was on resume writing. So if you do have any questions on resumes, you'll be able to watch that video. If you have any specific questions on that video, then you're able to reach out to us after. And anybody who attended today's event, I will be emailing. So
I'll also address another question that was in the chat. No, the finance classes do not count towards the accounting classes. They have to be accounting classes or coded as ACC classes to qualify for the 21 hours. Also, just to give you a little bit of information concerning the revenue auditor trainee titles that are going to be posted either Friday or Monday. The approximate starting time for those positions will be roughly around August 1st of 2023. We have the posting time frame, and then we have the application time and all of that, the interview process or the selection process. In addition, if you do not have your bachelor's degree today, but you are going to get that bachelor's degree in May, you are eligible to apply for those positions. And then you would have to have a final transcript to us prior to your employment.
Good point. Thank you for remembering that, Roger. Well, we're just about at the end of the session. We have about 5 more minutes. If you do have any other questions, yes. Can you please repeat the information that was shared at the beginning about resources for career counseling? Sure. If we'll give Johnny a minute, if he can flip through the PowerPoint and we can put that up.
As I said, everybody who's on this call, I will be emailing you. It will have that career counseling email, which is cms.careercounseling by email at illinois.gov. But I will be sending you that information. So, like I said, anybody who attended today's event will be receiving that email, and it has that email. What you will need to send them, it will be a copy of your resume, a copy of your unofficial transcripts, and what positions you would like to apply for. Then they will reach out to you via email to set up a meeting, either via WebEx, email, or via phone, just depending on your availability and things like that. So, but yeah, usually they'll email you within they said about 48 hours from the time they email them. So just make sure that you follow up after 48 hours if you haven't received an email by then.
And again, we do these calls monthly, so check our webpage, check our socials. If you don't follow us, please, I would encourage you to do so. We do post jobs on all of the social media sites, Facebook, LinkedIn, and if you have specific questions, you can go to the Rev IDOR Careers email address and send us an email question. Again, Johnny will follow up tomorrow with an email with some great resources for all of you. We greatly appreciate your time this morning. Help us spread the word. We're looking for 60 new revenue auditor trainees, so it might not fit for you today, but if you know someone who is qualified and would be interested, please share the information with them. We are looking to bringing some great folks on board to help us with audits. So on behalf of Johnny and Roger and myself, we thank you for your time this morning and have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye. Oh, go ahead, brother.
I just had one additional comment. Obviously, I've been with the Illinois Department of Revenue for 40 years. It is a great place to work. The technology is incredible. So if you have the qualifications and you're interested, audit area is a great place to work.
Yes, it is. So thank you so much. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. You guys have a great day.